Hey, come here a minute. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at someone else's car, house, or lifestyle and thought, man, I need that too? That right there might be the very thing keeping you broke because comparison doesn't just steal your joy, it quietly destroys your wealth. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're serious about building real wealth, not just looking rich, go ahead, hit that like button and drop a comment below. I'm building wealth, not chasing status. Also, if you're looking to take your finances to the next level, I offer one-on-one coaching for financial growth, helping you get out of debt, build assets, and actually create long-term wealth. Check the link in the descriptions if you're ready to level up. Now, let's get into it. So the first way that comparison will kill your wealth is that comparison leads to bad decisions. I don't know if you guys have ever done this or not, but I've made bad decisions in the past based on comparison and the comparison game. And lots of times what ends up happening is you start seeing what other people have. Your neighbor gets a new car, or somebody gets a new house. You start to want what they have, and it leads to bad decisions because you make that decision not based off of what you really want, but what somebody else has, and you think that you need that just because they have that. Learn how to kill that mindset of, I need this because somebody else has it. You don't need something because someone else has it. You should be making purchases based off of your needs, what you really need, not based off of, well, I want this really bad because so and so has it, or I see other people online having this, so I want it. And that's how you get into bad debt. You buy a 40 to $60,000 car when your car is paid off, but you want to look like somebody that has money. And most of the people I know that really have money, they don't have an expensive car. Many of them drive around in an old beat up car that you would never know that they had any kind of money, because they know that you don't need a fancy car to impress people. You just need assets that are actually making you wealthy, right? Wealthy people, they don't make decisions based on what others are doing. They make decisions based on what makes sense for them financially. The next thing that happens with comparison is it creates fake deadlines. So what tends to happen is, you start thinking, I should already have a house by now, or I should have a new car now. I should be making this amount of money now. And you start to get this comparison game going of, well, I need this because other people are hitting this deadline. You see the 20-year-old who already, has a bigger house than you do. I've been there. I've seen, younger people than me that have a bigger house or fancier cars. And it's like, why don't I have that? Right? Because, I've been working longer than they have. Most of what you see online is usually exaggerated. People make, a big deal about what they have online, and you don't really see the behind the scenes. You're seeing the star player moments, the moments that that people want you to see, rather than the struggles they have, or how they are struggling in debt just so they can have these things that they're showing you that they have, but they really don't. They're not really being successful with money. Wealth isn't built on someone else's timeline. It's built on the timeline that you set, and it's based off of the things that really matter. You have to have discipline and patience, and you have to be consistent. That's the key to everything, is consistency. If you do what you need to do long enough, and you're disciplined and you don't stray off the path, You will get there. It just takes time. You know, comparison keeps you focused on looking rich. What do I mean by this? Well, you know, when you are comparing yourself to other people, you constantly have the focus on, I need to look rich. And you see this in how people go out and buy brand new Jordans, or, you know, the newest fads, whatever they may be. And, you know, nice clothes, luxury cars, expensive gadgets, all these different things. But all this leads to more debt, more stress. It doesn't lead to wealth. You know, the person that's really building wealth is out here buying assets. They're delaying gratification. And that's what is going to really make the difference for you, is to buy assets and not be focused on looks. Don't be focused on looks. Be focused on what really matters. You know, stop trying to look wealthy. Start trying to actually become wealthy. You know, when you are always looking at what other people have and you're comparing yourself to what this person has a new car or new you know, new boat or whatever it may be, it distracts you from your own plan. Many of you, you started off, you had a plan for your life. You had a plan for what you wanted to do. But because of this comparison thing, you got distracted and you started chasing after, you know, this idea of what wealthy looked like. And it took you down a path that really you probably shouldn't have been going, but you went that way because that was the path that led to looking wealthy. You need a plan, you need goals, you need discipline. You need to discipline yourself to do the steps and the things that will create actual wealth in your life. So, what is the solution to the comparison game? What is the solution? Well, it's a couple of different things, and number one is limit what you consume. Limit what you consume. If you're constantly on social media and you're seeing everybody else thriving, and you see everybody else has got, you know, a new car, they moved into their new house, they're doing really well financially. Maybe they, you know, have 2.5 kids and a picket fence, right? You are seeing all this and you're thinking, um, I need to get to this level. But if you stop consuming all that social media, and just take a step back and say, what is it that what are my goals? What are my plans? Then you have a real clear path for where you need to go rather than just looking wealthy. Number two is define your own version of wealth. Not everybody is going to have the same path or the same journey. Not everybody's wealthy is going to look the same. Some people, wealthy is living on a farm with 45 chickens and 4 cows, you know, and 3 horses. That's wealthy for them. They have a farm and they're farming, and you know, I'm not a farmer. I don't, you know, I don't do well with farm animals. Have a lot of allergies and things, so I don't do well with farms. And so I will never make a good farmer. And that version of wealthy doesn't appeal to me. So for me to look at somebody who is wealthy, but they have a farm, that's not my version of wealthy. That's not my version of wealthy. You know, other people, their version of wealthy is, you know, having 4 brand new cars, luxury cars, and you know, having a four-story house with, you know, 12 bedrooms and 14 bathrooms. That's not my version of wealthy. My version of wealthy is to be able to spend more time with my family, because that's something that no matter how much money I don't have or don't have, I can never get time back. And also blessing other people. That's my version of wealthy. I want to be able to bless as many people as I can, to show them the light that's inside of me. And that light is for me is Jesus. So, focus on your own version of wealth. Number three is focus on assets over appearance. Like I said previously, really wealthy people, they don't have flashy things. They don't have, the expensive cars. There was a gentleman that growing up was a good friend of my grandparents, and he had an old beat up car. He lived in, just a little, probably 2 or 3 bedroom house, and you would never ever know that he had any money whatsoever. But yet and still, he helped to finance the mobile home park that my parents and grandparents built. And every time that my parents and grandparents would want to put a new mobile home on the mobile home in the mobile home park, they would go to him and say, "Hey, we need $10,000," and he would say, "Okay, here's $10,000," and they would pay him back over time and with interest. But that's how he was able to stay wealthy. But he was very well off, but nobody ever knew it because he focused on assets. He focused on things that don't have the appearance, but are things that are making money over time, right? Stocks, real estate, things of that nature. That's what's going to make you actually wealthy. So if this video helped you, do me a quick favor. Again, just like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with somebody who needs to hear this. And if you're ready to get serious about your financial future, don't forget I offer one-on-one coaching that all you have to do is click the link in the description below, schedule a call with me. I'd be more than glad to help you on your financial journey. Now, if you want to avoid another major mistake that keeps people broke, I want you to click right here. And in this video, I break down how lifestyle creep is quietly stealing your wealth. I'll see you in the next one.